Assalamualaikum. Today our group will be presenting about the outnumbered growth of vehicles use or ownership. The topics that will be covered are problem, prevention of the problem from happening, solution for the existing problem, and new legislation. Malaysia is a nation that is quickly developing and expanding its road network which connects all of its major cities. However, traffic congestion is still an issue in the fall, particularly in Kuala Lumpur, the nation's metropolis, due to the demand exceeding the transportation system's capacity as more people could afford private vehicles. We are well aware that Kuala Lumpur is a car-oriented city as compared to Singapore, which is a more pedestrian-friendly city. According to the article Carbon dioxide emissions and the transport sector in Malaysia, one of the major issues is traffic congestion, which will affect the rise in the combustion of fossil fuels, 28.8%, significantly more than the average worldwide of 24.5%. Also, the increased 96% of the greenhouse gas emissions in this sector are caused by carbon dioxide.
The first prevention of the problem is public transport. The government have providing public transport such as buses, taxis, flights and trains. Public transport can reduce carbon emissions as it can reduce the use of private vehicles on road. However, most individuals do not like to use public transport because it is inefficient, unpunctual and crowded. Some of the causes why the preventive actions is unsuccessful is because public transport is limited and crowded. The public transport system will have heavy pressure during peak hours and seasons, especially during public holidays. Plus, fees for flights will be increasing during the peak seasons, which causes people to prefer to use their vehicles to commute. Meanwhile, buses or trains are always crowded, forcing people to wait longer to board less crowded buses or trains. Next, not all housing areas have access to public transport. People still have to drive to the train station and find parking, which is challenging and time-consuming. Besides, the frequency of public transport such as buses in villages and rural areas is less frequent. The waiting time for public transport is longer than the time taken to reach the destination. The time-consuming waiting for public transport is longer, causing people to commute in their vehicles. Second, intelligent urban planning. Vehicles in Malaysian cities have occupied a greater amount of road space, causing congestion and air pollution due to the inability to access all their basic needs by walking or cycling. In Malaysia, there are some urban spaces designated to encourage people to reduce the use of private vehicles, including marketplaces, parks, sidewalks, streets and transport hubs. The government has provided urban space more inclusive and accessible to diverse users to improve the quality of life for communities while tackling carbon emissions. Some of the urban spaces that were in certain places were not applicable to use in some communities. Therefore, intelligent design planning for urban space should include people who are blind, deaf, or in wheelchairs to move around the city safely and independently. Moreover, intelligent urban planning has designated as car-free zones in certain areas. This target place helps to improve air quality if the visitors can use pedestrians, e-scooters and bicycles. The visitors can walk and ride safely in car-free zones. For example, Kuala Lumpur City Hall DBKL implements a policy to car-free in Jalan Tuanku Abdul Rahman every Sunday to encourage pedestrian-friendly cities. But Deputy Federal Territories Minister Datuk Seri Jalaluddin Alias said it is still in the engagement sessions with the stakeholders and public to implement in other areas. Last but not least, Malaysia is included in C40, which is committed to addressing climate change to start prioritizing the movement of people rather than cars.
Next, we will be discussing about the solution for the existing problem. So there are 5 solutions that we have came up with. First is increase of public transport. Second, parking and traffic controls. Third, introducing carpool options. Fourth, all drivers must pay a fee when entering the city centre. And fifth, limited traffic zones. So for the first solution of the problem is increase in public transport such as LRT, bus and e-hailing. This is in terms of where government needs to fund and invest more in public transportation. It is best to channel more to rail-based public transportations. More rail-based public transit should be provided as it is more safer compared to road-based transportation. Besides that, rail crash incidents are also very low. Government should also focus on the need of road-based public transportation such as bus, taxi and e-hailing. By making the fees for this public transportation more affordable, this will attract more people to shift to a public transportation. Next is parking and traffic controls. The government can remove parking spaces and change the traffic routes. For example, replacing the space formerly dedicated to cars with car-free streets, bike lanes, and walkways. This way believes it will help in reducing the number of car usage as well as keeping our community healthy and fit.
Next solution for existing problem is introducing carpool options. Car sharing appears to be a good strategy for limiting car use in cities and carpooling with others who are traveling in the same direction when going to work or school. This strategy will decrease the number of vehicles while reducing fuel consumption. Financial savings also can be generated. The fourth solution is all drivers must pay a fee when entering the city center. To reduce the number of vehicles, all drivers entering the city center must pay a fee. Then, the money from the congestion charges can be used to fund more environmentally friendly and improve the public transportation too. Lastly, limited traffic zones, limiting car admission to the city centre for those who pay an annual fee only during specific hours of the day. It is possible to shift the balance in favour of more people using public transportation. Even during unrestricted hours, when all cars are allowed to visit the city centre, this will decrease car traffic.
In order to settle this problem, there are a few new policies and legislation that can be implemented in Malaysia. First, every car owner is required to do a full car service every 12 months, and it is compulsory to bring their car for inspection every 2 years. During car services, it is mandatory to change engine oil and change air filters. The inspection also checks to make sure that vehicles have not been illegally modified. The inspection must be carried out at an authorized service garage or at the inspection center. Inspection and maintenance services can also be found at most car dealers. Every car needs to paste a sticker on the front mirror just like road tax sticker that prove they have done both services and inspection. Car services and inspection will discourage owners from holding on to vehicle for long periods, thus addressing the issue of safety, environment and energy by promoting newer, cleaner and more efficient vehicles.
Next is purchase restriction policy on car ownership. The number of plates issued every year for every automotive manufacturer should be limited to constrain the surge of local private car. In this case, the vehicle stock depends almost entirely on the number of plates issued every year by the government. Next, increase quota on energy-efficient cars such as hybrid electric vehicle, plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, and battery electric vehicle to promote the deployment of energy-saving ones and reduce quota on a petrol-used car. Electric vehicle producers in Malaysia can enjoy a variety of tax incentives, which include tax exemption for imports, excise, and sales. In addition, vehicle registration fee. For cars, the new fee is RM200 from RM100 for Peninsular Malaysia and RM120 from RM40 for East Malaysia. Single occupancy vehicles should be charged more than multiple occupancy vehicles, and vehicles that use clean energy should be charged less than petrol and diesel.
Increase tax on the second car. the person buy a new car registered as their second car, the taxes are much higher whether it was locally assembled or imported car. Road tax, or officially known as motor vehicle license, renew every year is paid to the government and the money is deposited into consolidated fund. The fund is used to build and improve transportation infrastructure, including public transport. For factors that determine that the price of road tax are car engine capacity, the location of the vehicle's body type, and the ownership. Here is the JPJ base rates and progressive rates for all types of vehicles. For this legislation, the road tax of the second car, whether new or used, the tax percentage should be higher than the first car. Example, for a Pro 2 Myvi privately registered 1.5cc, the first car tax is 90 ringgit, and for the second car of the owner, same car, it adds 15% to the tax, so it should be 103 ringgit and 50 cents.
Other than that, we can also enact a policy that shifts towards the use of electric vehicles. Electric mobility is the future and act as an important element of climate-friendly energy and zero emission. What can be done to start this transition is by work towards the sales of new automotive being zero emission globally by 2040 and by no later than 2035 in leading markets as per declared by COP26. Besides, reducing the road tolls charges and cheaper public parking for those who drive EVs. Moreover, install a minimum and a uniform charging and payment standard for EV consumer, making EVs, which are more expensive because of their production costs, a competitive and appealing option. Hence, why not we establish rules to put in place direct current charger, 350 kilowatt supercharger for every charging hub, because right now only Juntari, a subsidiary of Petronas that operates 350 kilowatt public charger for electric vehicles at X Park Sunway Seri, located in the Sungai Way Free Trade Industrial Zone, Selangor. So by installing the 350 kilowatt supercharger, this will then speed up the charging process. Next, standardize the charging prices rate for DC public charging in every electric vehicles in order to improve the confidence in Malaysia EVs charging ecosystem. This is because the pricing for DC fast charger throughout the Malaysia varies on location and the DC output.
In order to implement the new law and policies, we also created an app for people to register car ownership so that the government can monitor the carbon emission and increase of vehicle on the road. About the app facilitates the implementation of new legislation. The development of this app named U-Vehicle. It obligates each vehicle owner to register their vehicles in this app. The objective of this app is to control the growth of outnumbered vehicles, which can cause an increase in carbon emission and traffic congestion. Vehicle can collect data on vehicle ownership in Malaysia. The initiative in developing the U-Vehicle app for the government to observe and monitor the number of vehicles owned by a person. People are required to do a full car service every 12 months, and it is compulsory to bring their car for inspection every 2 years. The registrar will get a notification every time their vehicle needs to be serviced and some recommendation on workshop to service their vehicle. Besides, the registrar with more than one vehicle will be charged an extra tax higher than buying the first car. So, in the U-Vehicle app, the amount of tax to be paid will be included once they register their vehicles.
The collaborators that we will work together are Local Car Service Center, Local Sports Center, TED Talks Education, and celebrities and influencers. For Local Car Service Center, local car companies such as Proton and Perodua give discount to only first car services for local car type only. It is once a year redemption. Next, collaboration with local sports center to promote users to practice cycling or walking instead of using vehicle. Points will be achieved every 2 kilometers, and the points can be used as discount vouchers for purchase at the sports center. Next, collaboration with TED Talk Education. This can teach teachers, students, and children worldwide about how to think critically about new or difficult information. TED-Ed is a platform where educators can submit educational videos. Lastly, celebrities and influencer. This is to promote the U-Vehicle app to youngsters. Celebrities and other influencers have the power to promote the app based on their exposure, popularity, missions, and values. Whether or not people like them, they get attention, and so the app will too. They often have a variety of avenues to get their message out, from TV interviews to blogs and Twitter feeds. For better or worse, many people trust celebrities, and the products they promote benefit from the generalized trust.
What are the benefits of U-Vehicles? U-Vehicles app contains, firstly, car service notification or reminders for every 12 months. It allows users to become alert of the upcoming car service appointment. Secondly, vehicle services history. Users will know all the services and any repair that have been done on the vehicles. Thirdly, vehicle service cost detail. U-Vehicles app can inform users of the estimate cost of upcoming services and repair. And lastly, U-Vehicles help to find the nearest workshop at their home. Moreover, users can book an appointment for the car repair and service workshop according to the schedules. And also, users can monitor their vehicle usage as well as the amount of carbon emission it's releasing via driving.
That's all from us. Thank you for listening.